Hey folks, we're back again with another weekly edition of the West Coast Pop Tier List. I'm Eric, joined by the usual cast. Zach, how you doing?
Good.
All right, how about you, Knock?
I'm good, man. Enjoying. Glad to be here.
All right, Paul, how about you?
Stressed but blessed.
All right. You guys might have noticed that we have some movies up on this tier list. It's not the usual wrestling theme, it's movies with wrestlers in them. And because when it comes to movies, I am a jobber, we decided to get some help from a good friend of ours. Kyle from the I Know Movies and You Don't podcast has joined us. Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm really excited to be talking about some of the cheese that is filled through this list. This is going to be so fun for me.
Good to have you back.
Fun for all. The very first question we got when we did Q&A was, will we get you back? So you've been missed.
Yeah, you're actually really popular amongst our fans. They really like you.
This is impossible. I'm not.
No, we have a lot of pervs and
We're
creeps.
getting comments. Yeah.
Well, then
I put Kyle back.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, then I guess you have good fans.
Very good.
Yeah,
Smart fans.
Exactly.
Except for April.
Oh,
You're a fucking hater, dude. April's cool.
All right. So basically, for those of you who've never seen the tier list, what we're going to do is everyone's going to get their chance to vote on where they think a movie should go, S rank to F. At the end, everyone here will have the ability to move a movie into any category they so believe it should be in using the veto. And as always, only one can be S rank by the end. Special thing about this episode, like I said, I'm a jobber with these movies. I will not be putting a vote into any movie. I will be a tiebreaker if it's necessary, but otherwise it is you four.
Sounds good.
All right.
Fantastic.
We're going to jump straight into it. Legendary movie, Roddy Piper, They Live. I'm going to give honors to you, Kyle. First of all, where do you think They Live belongs?
Well, with John Carpenter directing, with a blend of Western machismo and cheese and camp from the '80s, like I have to give it an A, because I mean, not only is Roddy Piper fantastic in it, in probably the most honest and populist sort of performance that he can give, that makes him authentic. The movie itself has a grandiose social commentary that is pretty much relevant to today, and so it stands the test of time. So A for me.
Very nice. How about you, Zach?
It might get moved later, but for me, I'm going to put this in S-class. So much rewatchability, so much you can talk about with this movie. And if you want to see a wrestler just kind of like, especially in the 80s, he was far better than Hogan ever was in this movie. And I love this movie to death.
Very nice. Knock, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an A also. Like Zach said, a lot of rewatchability. Kyle, this is the same director that did The Thing, right? Or am I mixing it up?
Nope, 100%.
Yeah. I like this guy a lot.
Yeah, this is a string of movies, dude. He did the Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, The Thing, Escape from New York, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, and They Live, all within a span of 12 years. This man is phenomenal.
Yeah, this is A-class.
All right. And Paul, where are you putting them?
I have to agree with Zach here. This is actually my favorite movie of the pile, so I'm going to put it in S rank.
Okay.
So it looks like we got a tiebreaker here, so it's up to you, Eric.
I was kind of hoping this would be a tiebreaker because I'm going to vote S class.
Okay.
Simply for the fact that the older I got, the more I learned how amazing this movie is. And when I realized Keith David was in this, I fell in love with it because Keith David is amazing.
He is incredible, and he's basically just playing the same character he's doing in The Thing, but it's still great.
Yeah. Oh, and fun fact, I was actually Roddy Piper last year for Halloween, so the reason for it next.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have the skirt and everything.
We have to put on the West Coast Pop Instagram.
I will. I'll post a photo on Instagram.
All right, first one for the S class, They Live. Next up, The Princess Bride with Andre the Giant. I'm going to flip the script. Paul, where do you think this should go?
I've seen this. I don't really remember this movie. I saw it when I was really young, and honestly, I don't remember Andre the Giant. So I'm gonna base it off of like what I remember, and I remember thinking it was an okay movie. So let's put it in C.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Why is that bad or?
This is one of my S-class picks. I love this movie.
Okay, Knock. Why don't you go next? Explain.
It's just, I like it. It's really fun. Robin Wright's in it. She's really cool. Andre the Giant kills it. My boy, I can't remember the name, but he's like the El Zorro type character. He's chasing this guy around.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Gary Olis, yeah. Wesley.
Just the whole thing, the action. It's really cool. Definitely not a C.
Okay. You know what? Then can I change my answer to a B?
You have spoken.
You convinced me.
You know what? That's what the game's all about, convincing each other. So, Knock with the S, Paul with a B. How about you, Zach?
I'm going to go S-Class. I love this movie. It's timeless, and this is the perfect date movie because there's no expectations for today's modern man to really live up to. It's a nice, beautiful fairy tale. I love this movie from top to bottom.
Very nice. All right, Kyle, where's this going?
Well, now that I'm picking up that we can have multiple S-class,
We weed them out in the end because there can only be one.
obviously, because They Live would be an S-class for me as well. But Princess Bride is that too. Princess Bride is it's part of the literary tradition, the whole passing down storylines and stories from like grandfather to grandson. It's so incredibly sweet. It's incredibly witty. Rob Reiner is a great director in the sense that he is a collaborative man. And William Goldman's story, that the novel that it comes from, it was considered unfilmable. And so the fact that they got this made, the fact that they pristinely cast it with Carrie Elwes, Robin Wright, I mean everybody from Sean Wallace, Andre the Giant, and Andre the Giant is delivering the just immense sweetness. So I'll have to put it in S class as well. It is a true fantasy classic.
All right, very nice.
This is what we're talking
Glad you're here, Kyle.
Like, Andre the Giant. I've never seen him, and everything that I've seen him in, I've never seen him look like he's enjoying himself more than when he's filming this movie.
Yeah.
And he was in so much pain filming this movie. Like he couldn't even hold up Robin Wright. That's how much pain he was in. Like he's a tragic story, but he was having the time of his life. Like he made so many dear friends on this set. Like he was so sweet, and everyone loved him, and for good reason, because he was a great man.
That's really funny because like backstage, like in the wrestling world, there are like rumors about him being a piece of work. So
Well, I'm sure he was a
no,
prima
actually,
donna in some
it's
way.
quite the opposite. Actually,
Yeah,
he
he
looked
was
up the
very
stories.
opposite.
He's a sweetheart. He only was rude to people, and if he was rough with you, it was so you learned the business.
Yeah,
okay.
Cool. Yeah.
he like Hulk Hogan and him did not get along because Hulk was a dick.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
That does not surprise me.
But all right, we got 2 for S class. I hope you guys enjoy the S classes when you can, because when we get to that last movie, if we get to a tiebreaker for that, I'm voting S class. So you all better be unanimous.
I'm still set on They Live.
All right, we're gonna move ahead to a 3rd movie, Predator, with Jesse Ventura. Zach, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, I hate to be this guy, but fucking S class, man.
Oh,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I love this movie so much.
You guys are gonna have a hard time weeding out this S class.
yeah.
I think that's
Good
my last
movies.
S class.
You think so?
Eric, have you seen this movie?
Oh no.
I haven't. No, I've seen bits. Like I
Oh,
know enough
really?
of it to know what happened, but I didn't like watch it from beginning to end.
Gotcha.
It is the perfect blend of an action movie and sci-fi without getting too weird.
Yep.
Is this
Everything
the
that
one?
the remake wasn't.
Yeah.
Which one? Which remake?
The last one.
Oh,
Oh, that was fucking horrible. One that came in 2018.
even I know that one wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But or it was very different. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask you, Doc, where do you think this one goes?
Sorry, Zach, but I'm gonna put it B. I'm gonna put it in a B.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Give Predator 2 probably S class.
Hey man, that's what I remember the most. So I'll give it a B, but I do enjoy the movie.
Okay.
Get to the chopper.
How about you, Paul?
I'm gonna give this an A. Fucking Big Billy rules.
Okay, so we got one for S, one for A, one for B. So Kyle, you're the deciding vote.
Well, so the wrestler in said movie is Jesse Ventura, who I think is out of his goddamn mind in real life. But I think that that's a flair in real life that he brings to any performance, and him wielding Old Painless alone in such an incredible action virtuoso performance. I just have to. It's an S class for me as well. I hate to be that guy too, but there are certain levels of movie, and as a action spectacle and sci-fi excursion, it really delves deep and into the hunters become the hunted, and I love this movie.
Yeah.
Very nice. If that did somehow get to a tiebreaker, I'd probably would also vote S class. So down with that.
Yeah.
Oh, and fun fact, I thought Jesse Ventura and Steven Seagal were the same people for the longest time when I was little.
Jesse Ventura is much cooler.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. One's uncle.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna stay with Jesse Ventura and Arnold as we go to the Running Man. Kyle, why don't you start us off? What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, so this is a guilty pleasure, but I will objectively rate. This movie is bonkers. I don't know if all of you have seen it, but it is just absurd. This, futuristic gladiatorial matchups between action stars and, someone who's been framed and trying to, and, it's not as good as like the 70s versions of these kind, like Rollerball or Death Race 2000, but it's schlocky and it's wonderful in its schlockiness and cheapness. But objectively speaking, from a rating standpoint, I will have to give it a B.
Okay. How about you, Zach?
I'm on board with you there, Kyle. I give it a B. Growing up when the NES was out, this was a great movie because each guy was like a guy in a video game that you face. It was really fun, but it just, watching it back now this many years later, you wonder what could have been if this had a huge budget at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
But very fun movie.
Okay. How about you, Paul?
This is actually one of the films I didn't see, so I'm just going to go with Kyle since he knows movies and say B.
I said the same damn thing. You're not going to go with me?
I'm going to go with Kyle and Zach and say B.
I mean, but you gotta remember who's making the money here, Zach.
I'm going to go
That ain't me, guys. I'll tell you that.
Hey, you at least have a job right now.
That's true. If that's where it counts.
How about you, Knock?
Yeah, I'm gonna defer to Zach and Kyle also and go with B. I haven't seen this one.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
you guys,
Yeah,
it's like, even though I rated it B, you have to watch it. It's like old school Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not as good as like Total Recall and all that, but you got it. It's just so silly and ridiculous.
It's funny you say Total Recall. I was gonna actually ask you about that one and compare it to because I've seen Total Recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar. It's similar vibes. Although Paul Verhoeven's a better filmmaker than.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's Paul Verhoeven.
No, Paul Verhoeven did Total Recall, but Running Man is, I forget who did that, but it's lower tier.
All three of you guys are video game guys, so I just highly recommend watching it just for the fact that you will enjoy it because of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was in this one? What wrestler?
Jesse Ventura.
Ventura.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's in a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. First non-S class goes to the B. We're gonna go ahead. Guardians of the Galaxy with Dave Bautista. I'm gonna start off with you, Knock. Where's this one going in your mind?
This movie, Batista really set himself up for future blockbusters. He really came into his own. He was starting to come into his own before this, but he was finally on that stage for the main audience. And it was a fun movie. I'll give it an A.
Okay. I dig that. How about you, Paul?
People are probably going to crucify me for saying this, but I've never seen this movie.
Whoa, really?
I've never seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So I mean, I hear it's a great film, and I've seen parts of it. So based off of that, I guess A.
If you want, we can come back to you. Let's see what Zach and Kyle have to say.
In like 2.5 hours after you watch this movie.
How about you, Zach? What are your thoughts?
I'll give it an A. This is a very unknown Marvel product at the time that they turned into something that people just fell in love with. It's very well done. Drax is just so good in this movie, and it just shows, we'll probably talk about later on, what a great character actor Dave Bautista is.
Yeah. For someone with social anxiety, he really took on a strange character and made it work.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Kyle?
I'm in agreement. A is, out of all the Marvel movies, there's 22 of them. And, sometimes they all blend together in tone. This is one that separates itself. I think James Gunn had an idea of bringing this, as Zach said, an unknown superhero origin. I think that started in the 80s. Zach, you might know the answer to that.
Yeah, the scene at the end of the second Guardians of the Galaxy with all those people in Miley Cyrus's voice?
Yeah.
Those were the original Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the joke about that. So it started in the 80s with those, and not this crew. This is the later on crew.
Yeah,
like the Adam Warlock scene.
Yeah. So with that in mind, it's one of the only Marvel films that actually has like personality, and it has its origins in some delightful space operas such as Star Wars or Adventures of oh wait, am I getting that wrong? No. Buckaroo Banzai, Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Like it has its origins in nerddom and a celebration of the outsider, and all the characters are that. And Drax is such a great character. There's some inconsistencies in the universe of portraying him, but this is the true origin of his character. And Bautista is a great character actor, and he really brought this character to life, and he's very inspirational to a lot of people with mental handicap in the sense of like autism, and because the character is literal minded and does a great job, and he being a superhero with such a way of thinking, it was pretty inspirational to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very nice analysis. All right, so we're going to count it as 4 votes for the A class, and we're going to go on to the next Bautista movie, James Bond, Spectre. Zach, where would you put this?
I'll put it in the C column because I'm not the biggest fan of this Bond series. I like the realism of it. I like a lot of aspects of it, but all these movies to me blended together.
Okay. Like that. How about you, Knock?
I do like this Bond series, but this movie disappointed me a lot. Bautista, as again, great character actor. He played that role of that old school, big, heavy villain, and I really liked how he did that. Yeah, short role, but his fight scene with Bond in the movie was really good on the train. I'll put it, C's fine. The movie just was very disappointing.
Fair enough. How about you, Paul?
I agree. I'm going to have to put it in the C column. I agree with Zach verbatim. Like, I'm not really a huge fan of the James Bond series, especially the newer ones with, what's the actor's name? Greg.
Listen, Daniel Craig, man, he's been killing it. Cut him some slack.
I know, he's good. He's good. He's not bad, but like his movies have just been really samey, and this one kind of just felt like a watered down Skyfall to me. So I'm just
For once, I'm glad I'm not the one arguing with Paul, so I'm gonna take my vacation. Kyle, where are you gonna put this?
Well, truth be told, Spectre I think is utter garbage as a film. I would put it D or lower, but what I will agree with everyone in a ranking of C and just keep it there, mostly because that opening tracking shot at Day of the Dead is pretty darn great. And Sam Mendes did a great job on a technical level, and there are some action set pieces that do find themselves in an exhilarating way to enjoy the film, but it's pretty darn. If someone said, I think it was Paul, watered down Skyfall. It's basically that. It's not very good, and I think it was a waste of, a classic Bond villain, and it just is average.
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
And Zach said it too. Like the movies are just so samey now. Like they're just too similar.
Another thing too about that Day of the Dead thing, there's so many Day of the Dead things being done in TV and movies around that time, like Batman vs Superman, like all this shit. It's just like exhausting that people are just. That was a great shot. It's just that it's exhausting that people keep going to this basically because of the visuals.
Absolutely.
Very fair. All right, rank C it is, and we go on to the next Batista movie. His roles get small. His screen time gets smaller and smaller. This one, Blade Runner 2049. This one I put on here because this was the first movie that made me think, okay, Batista actually has a shot at this acting thing.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, you can take my spot because it's hard to say this as a fucking nerd, but I haven't seen either of the Blade Runner movies. So Eric, you can take my spot.
Zach, movie night in the future. You gotta watch them.
Yeah.
Especially the first one.
In that case, I'll start off and say C, just because it was interesting, but I have a rule. If I fall asleep at any point,
You fell asleep.
I remember.
It was so interesting, but it was just so slow and so quiet. I just couldn't help it. So it would have been a B if I could manage to stay awake. How about you, Kyle?
Oh, you're gonna throw it to me after that. That's fine. So I have a very complicated relationship with Blade Runner 2049, only because Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's because of its contemplative nature on what it means to be human and its noirish aesthetic. And I grew up with it. I loved it. Doing a sequel is almost wanting me to go, hell no, I don't want that to be done. And with that in mind, Denis Villeneuve, he's really a phenomenal filmmaker. If you've seen any of his visual atmosphere in, say, Prisoners or Sicario, he really knows what he's doing as a filmmaker. And so that movie is pristinely done. The Roger Deakins cinematography, it won the Oscar. It is immaculate, and but you're right, Eric. It's drawn out. It's a little long. It could put people to sleep, and at a runtime of 2 hours 49 minutes, it's pretty difficult. It requires endurance. And that's not to say that you can't get a lot out of it. It's just there's a lot of things holding it down, such as it has a bad villain problem. Like Jared Leto is not fantastic as the villain. Had it been David Bowie originally, I think I would have been 100% more on board. So Blade Runner 2049 for me on a technical level brings it to a B, and it weighs it down it could have been an A. Like it's definitely not S class. It could have been an A, could have been a contender, but I think it's a B.
Okay. Very nice explanation. How about you, Paul?
Well, I remember actually watching this movie with you, Eric, and I do remember you falling asleep, and I remember thinking, like, how the hell is this guy falling asleep? There's like a woman that's the size of a fucking skyscraper right now.
Did we watch it after work, or did we just...
It was after work.
Okay.
Oh, then you just had the workitis.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, but Kyle does have a good point. It is really drawn out, and it is really dialogue heavy. And I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I had a fun time with it, so I'm gonna agree with Kyle and put it in the B column.
Okay, I dig that. Knock, where's your vote going?
I'm gonna go B. I didn't really like Jared Leto. I just seen too much of him instead of I just wasn't feeling his role. Batista really capitalized on having a short amount of screen time, and he did beautifully well done in this movie. The movie's stunning. I love it. And I'm speaking from a person I didn't see the first one. I went into it. This is the first Blade Runner I've seen. So I was blown away with it. I'm gonna give it a B.
Yeah. Well, you don't necessarily have to see the first one. It kind of helps in context.
Yeah.
I will agree with you, Knock. It's the Batista in it is fantastic. The opening to this film is almost S tier quality. It's just it slogs about in getting to its point and adds on Deckard, which is Harrison Ford is the character in the first one. I almost feel like you didn't have to do it. You didn't have to add him. Like you could have done another story in this universe and it would have been just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's like one of the best cameos in a film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why I put it on this list. But great discussion. It goes into the B category.
Oh, and can I also say, I totally forgot that Jared Leto was even in this movie, so what does that say?
It says he's he's not as good as people think.
Exactly. Joker my ass.
All right, next up we go. Every now and then, this movie will just shoot into my mind. Like I'll remember a random scene, and I want to watch this again so badly. Pain and Gain with The Rock. Where is it going? I'm gonna ask you first, Knock.
I think this will be an A for me. Not quite S-class, but this movie's fun and just hilarious and well put together. The Rock is great. Yeah, A-class for me.
Very nice. How about you, Zach?
I'll give it a B. I forget a lot about this movie until I like think about it or like revisit it at some point. I have a lot of fun watching it. Just to me, it was just a tad forgettable.
Fair enough. Going to you, Paul. What's your thoughts?
I'm gonna give this movie a C only because it's really not my cup of tea, but I can understand why other people like it. I'm not the biggest Michael Bay fan. I think that plays a huge factor in it. So yeah, C.
All right, Kyle, pressure's on you. Where is this going?
Well, so I hate Michael Bay. And so to put into context why I give this an A is because this is an incredibly written script. And I think the obtuseness of the character, it's a hard movie to swallow because none of the characters are good. You get a narration effect from each of their points of view. They muddy the focus. They're never clear. The clarity of the script is always in question, but it's intentional. And so they are just boneheaded moron criminals, and they think that they're getting away with it. And it's one of my favorite genres. The Coen brothers are, it's no Coen brothers level like that. Any Coen brothers movie that deals with morons dealing in crime, such as like Fargo or Burn After Reading.
I was about to say like Fargo.
Yeah, that's like S-class material. But this is not S-class because it is Michael Bay. It's a little hampered by, his bloating technical skills and action, adrenaline spectacle. But it's still such a memorable experience to me. And I think it's probably one of the best performances The Rock has done in kind of utilizing his persona, but also subverting it in a way and being kind of a negative heel. And I know he was a kind of a heel sometimes in his career, but like this is quite a heel performance.
Yeah, I'll let you
using the wrestling terminology, Kyle.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie where he's not The Rock. Even as a heel Rock, he's different in this movie. Get him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with that. A rank it is. We go on Ed Wood with George Steele in it. And before we start, is this the one with Johnny Depp in it?
Yes, it is.
All right. I did not know that. Knock or Paul, have you guys seen this movie?
I have not actually. I'm gonna tell you
It's in parts of it.
Okay. I'm gonna start off with you, Kyle. What are your thoughts on Ed Wood?
Well, Ed Wood is, to me, an S-class only because I think it is Tim Burton's masterpiece. It is a love letter to the product of cinema and what it is to make cinema. Like this biopic about Ed Wood, who is considered the worst filmmaker of all time until Uwe Boll came around and
and Lars von Trier.
Them's fighting words. Lars von Trier. That man's a genius.
I disagree.
We can have a separate conversation about Lars von Trier another time. But Ed Wood is, to view through the scope of beloved cinema, to look at the aspect of creation and putting your love into something, whether it's bad or not, is the worthwhile endeavor. And that's what Tim Burton's like looking back on and seeing the passion and the love that Ed Wood had as an artist, even though he wasn't very good at it. But he really put everything of his into it. And that's what's important. And I think it's a great script. It's a duo who works together. Actually, I think they wrote the same script for like Man on the Moon. They did My Name is Dolomite. They know how to tackle into really unique characters, and George Steele's in it, and he brings depth to Tor Johnson, who was also a wrestler and was in Ed Wood's movies, and it's just such a great movie. It's Tim Burton's best, and Tim Burton is such a at a heightened level of career making cinema. If that's his best, you have to put it in S class.
Very nice. I was considering watching this movie, but after that, I definitely want to.
You should. It's fantastic.
Okay. How about you, Zach? What are your thoughts?
I can't really give a better money shot to this movie than Kyle just did. It is definitely an S class. I'll put it in S class. I watched this movie. It was around the time that I got influenced to want to go into film in college. A lot of good 90s films came out. I never saw Plan 9 from Outer Space. Seeing this movie, this is definitely Tim Burton's best film. It's just so... I don't know. It's one of my favorites, and I don't really have too many favorite movies that are about other people, because it always seems to me that they're not about other people. It's about what the filmmaker's statement about that person is. This movie has both of that to me, technically. You guys definitely put it on your list. This is a great one.
Very nice. Paul, do you have anything different to grade it, or you gonna agree with that?
Well, like I said before, I've only seen parts of this movie, but I know the career of Ed Wood. Like, I know, Plan 9, I know Glen or Glenda, and from the bits and parts I've seen of it, I really like it. Has that surrealist quality that, what's his name? What's his name again?
Ed Wood?
No.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yeah, it has that quality that Tim Burton has. So I really can't say much about it, but I feel like this is like the perfect movie for him to tackle, just because I just feel like it's right up his alley. Like, making like this kind of surreal, kind of like, I guess, mockumentary in a way of one of the worst directors of all time. Like, I don't know who else can do it justice than Tim Burton. So let's put it in A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, 2 votes to 1. Knock, you said you're gonna abstain this round.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a nod that they give, so I'm gonna have to watch it because Tim Burton has some hits, and if this is the best one.
Very fair.
It's art. That's my description for it.
It's phenomenal.
I dig that. All right, 4 S ranks so far. Next up, 5th S rank. It's gonna be No Holds Barred. Zach, anything to say about this?
All right, brother. So I just watched this last night. Last night was probably the first time I fully watched this piece of shit. This movie is dookie on so many levels. So this is like the epitome of shit with Hulk Hogan acting. I'm not looking forward to this movie with Chris Hemsworth coming out because they picked the wrong guy to play Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is a very simple man. You can tell in his acting and his little eyes that are like really huge in this movie the whole time. The only good parts of this movie are the scenes with Zeus in it. And just so you know, behind the scenes here, executive producers Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan did not like the script. So they locked themselves in a hotel room together for 72 hours. There's a scene in this movie where Hogan and this woman are in a hotel room, and it's a very awkward scene. I have a theory. So I think during the writing, alone in a hotel room, and they both have mansions that they could have written stuff in. I feel.
1 second, Zach. Can you repeat that? We actually lost you.
Yeah, you broke up a bit.
Oh man, I don't know where I lost you, but I feel that being locked in a hotel room for 72 hours together, they had sex. And I'm serious. Just hear me out. I think this explains a lot of stuff. So I think they had sex. This explains why their relationship is so weird, why Vince was so hurt when Hogan went to WCW, a new boyfriend. I also think that it's why the relationship was still a relationship, why he always wanted to bring Hogan back. I feel like something happened when they wrote this movie. And it... F, by the way. F for this fucking movie.
Well, obviously.
Well, I mean, if it's anyone that would happen, Vince, it would be Hulk.
And I'm just saying, I think this is why he is so like, we need more bra and panty matches and all this stuff to like make up for like his homosexuality. Like, I think it's just like a beard. So like everyone else, he always congratulates people for coming out, but then he has such a hard time writing gay storylines. I think this is it. I think I just sold the case.
Damn, you're savage, Zach.
All I want is before he retires, him, I don't know, bring back Stone Cold in a ladder match. Vince somehow wins this ladder match, and in the briefcase is just him, a letter saying he's coming out. That's how Vince just booked his coming out party. But right now, first vote goes to F. How about you, Kyle?
Oh, 100% agree. This is an F. Just it's so hokey and trash. In like the worst way. It's like it's not even aware that it's bad. It thinks that it's making something grand. Zach, if you're onto this, if there's like some brimming relationship between McMahon and, I mean, if this is their child, it should have been aborted.
Oh yeah.
Hey Zach, real quick, which WrestleMania did this movie inspire the match for?
It was for SummerSlam, but since the movie bombed, it was supposed to be at WrestleMania 6, these two going at it, Zeus and Hogan. But since the movie bombed, it turned into a SummerSlam match with Macho and Zeus teaming up with Brutus, Beefcake, and Hogan.
That's right.
So if this movie would have been a success, we would not have gotten a title for title match with Warrior and Hogan at WrestleMania 6.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Thank you everyone for not going to see this shit.
Just thank the world for not giving Hogan a successful movie career.
Yeah.
How about you, Paul? Where are you putting this?
Well, I just want to say you're welcome, Zach, because I haven't seen this movie, and based off of what you guys are saying, I don't want to.
You're good.
So F.
All right, and knock F.
Yeah, let's just move on. Keep it an F. This is the cheesiness I don't need to see.
All righty. We're going to move on ahead. Trainwrecked with John Cena. Paul, where would you put this?
Is this the movie where John Cena is like a drug dealer?
No. He dates Amy Schumer's character, and every time he insults people, it comes out as really homosexual, which is probably one of the funniest things about the movie, and he plays it pitch perfect. Like he's like, "I will enter you. I will enter you." It's fantastic.
Well, I didn't see the film then, so I guess you can see another one.
All right, very fair. How about you, Kyle?
Well, I mean, the movie as a whole is not fantastic. I mean, those moments are pretty exceptional with John Cena. Like he's a bit part in it, and he plays it really well. I'm not a big Amy Schumer fan, and yet the movie is not like a terrible watch. Like there are funny moments. Like they do some great casting. Like Colin Quinn is her father, and Bill Hader is quite good in the film. Tilda Swinton is unrecognizable and fantastic in it. But the movie, it's Judd Apatow, and he gets a little, he's a little bloated of a filmmaker. He didn't write this. It was Amy Schumer's baby. So it's a mixed bag, and there are some good moments sprinkled in. If we're rating it on John Cena, it's like that performance is actually a great comedic performance. I'll be a little generous. I'm gonna give it a B, even though it probably deserves a C, but I'll give it a B.
Okay. Knock, you see this one?
Yeah. My boy LeBron James is in this. Like you said, Cena did a nice comedic performance. I'm gonna give it a C though. That wasn't my favorite of movies, but I do recognize Cena doing a good job for what the role was.
Okay. How about you, Zach?
I'll give it a C. Amy Schumer is proof that not every comedian should be an actor. That's not shade, it's just a fact. If you want to see it even more so, watch her I Feel Pretty movie, which contradicts itself over and over again. This movie wasn't bad. It's just, again, the whole time I was watching someone, like a studio trying to make a comedian a star, even though this was her movie. Bill Hader was great. I even enjoyed John Cena a little bit. But
wow, that's progress.
It's to be honest, it's not really but I didn't hate it.
Okay.
So right now, or for good, she goes to the C column. Next up, Magic Mike with Kevin Nash and his plastic quads.
Yeah.
Damn, we're shady this episode.
Zach, where's this going?
I never saw it, so Eric, if you saw it, you can have my my thing. It's in my queue right now to watch, actually, on HBO, but now HBO Go vanished, so I have to find a new way to watch it.
Okay. I haven't seen it, so it's gonna be you three. Kyle?
Well, 2, because I didn't see it either.
Oh.
All right. Tag team this one, you guys. Kyle, where's this gonna go?
Well, so this is Soderbergh, and I'm he's a hit and miss for me, hit or miss, I should say. And this one is pretty darn good, I have to say, for the subject matter. Male strippers and like glorifying. It reminded me. It had like this tethers to like the Full Monty, but the Full Monty is about like guys who are not attractive who become strippers, to try and which is great. Tom Wilkinson's in it, and Robert Carlyle. It's fantastic. Magic Mike's not like that level of quality, but it's so fun and infectious to watch. And of course, big sexy Kevin Nash, in the background. He's probably the most unconvincing dancer, but the fact that he's with this, Joe, how do you even say his last name? Joe Montaliano?
I have no idea.
Maniello.
Maniello. Maniello. And he's fantastic in it. Channing Tatum's good, but you know what? You go to watch Matthew McConaughey just, ignite that screen. And, when he's like, the law says, look, but do not touch. But I think I see a lot of lawbreakers out there. It's such a great line. I'll give it an A. Like it's A. Like it's such a fun movie.
Okay. How about you, Knock? Where would you put this?
Listen, man, I'm not gonna lie. This movie was pretty good. I think Kyle shouted out everyone that needed to be shouted out. I will give a shout out to Matt Bomber, who was in this movie also. He did a good job. White collar.
He was in this.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the A class. I really liked it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
And Kyle, if you don't know why Kevin Nash wasn't dancing that well, look up Kevin Nash's quads.
I will say, I haven't seen this movie just because of circumstance, but for the longest time, I thought it was a basketball movie. I kept thinking like Mike. So I was fully expecting to watch this movie for basketball. I would have been very surprised.
Yeah.
So you got male strippers.
Don't bring the wrong person.
Oh man. Next up, G.I. Joe with good old Sergeant Slaughter. Zach, what are your thoughts?
Man, just from a kid's perspective, growing up with this, I would give it an S class, but I got too many good ones up there already, so I'll put it in A. This is the way the story is told, it's good versus bad. It's the all-American heroes, the real American heroes, G.I. Joe against Cobra, this like made-up terrorist organization. It was a cartoon and toy series for the longest time, and they turned the basic story. They could have made a basic movie, but this movie, much like the Transformers movie at the time, decided to go in a different direction. A couple more little bit of adult things in there, but they did stuff with side characters from the TV show. Like Roadblock was a side character, but became one of the main characters in here. They turned the villains kind of upside down. It was very unique to do for kids when you want to sell toys. But this is a really great movie, really great music, really well done. Animated, old school drawn movie, but it feels like you're watching a big blockbuster.
Okay. I like that. Paul, any thoughts?
So this isn't the Rise of Cobra. This is another movie, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the animated one for the 80s.
Yeah, I didn't see this one then. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's. I mean, I'm not doing it because I haven't seen most of these, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Knock, did you see it?
Let's see. I'd say A. I'd say put it in A class. I like this type of stories, and like I said, being like a kid watching this is really cool.
Okay. And Kyle, what's your vote?
I can't outshine Zach in his description. I grew up with this as well, but I have not thought about it in how they subverted a lot of elements in the typical genre and of the storyline. But in a remembrance and a nostalgia sense, it is quality. It's a quality, and Sergeant Slaughter appearing in it is
Eddie's disease.
Fantastic. I'll agree with I'll agree with what's on the board. It's quality, especially if you grew up with it, and I think it's good for kids today. Like if I had kids, God forbid, the universe lets me have them. Poor them. I would watch it with them, and I think I would enjoy it, and that shows a good quality.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that. Right into the A column. Next up, a movie I'm willing to bet we've all seen.
Yep.
Spider-Man with Macho Man Randy Savage as Bonesaw. Gonna toss it over to you. Where's this one going?
Oh, was it to me?
Oh, sorry, that was to knock.
Oh, sorry, it cut out. I couldn't hear the sound. This was A class. I love this movie. I damn near want to put it in S class, but I'll say that for the second one if this was on the list. Macho Man stood out so much. He's so memorable in this movie. Being like the cage, he's so good. This is A class for sure.
Yeah, I think this was right before I started to really follow wrestling, so I had no idea that Macho Man was a wrestler. I thought this was just an actor,
muscular guy,
just Bonesaw in real life. How about you, Paul?
Well, this was actually my favorite movie when I was like in 4th grade, I think. So I'm going to automatically put it in A. And I also want to remind people that in this movie, Peter Parker was actually quite homophobic. Because if you remember the scene with Randy Savage, he taunts him saying, "That's a cute outfit. Did your husband make it for you?" And there's a meme. Yeah, there's a meme going on where it has a picture of Randy Savage and the caption reads, "Actually, he did. He bought this for me on our 10-year anniversary. Not only is he my lover, he's my best friend and my soulmate. I'm not ashamed of who I love, nor should I be. For someone with strange abilities due to, and I assume, accidental exposure to radioactive spider blood, you're not very tolerant of those different to yourself. You're on the wrong side of history, Spider-Man."
That's a very long meme.
My favorite meme.
Yeah.
But by the way, he's 16.
Yeah.
That's true.
And he's saving people.
Well, like he has youthful ignorance. Like he is ignorant.
That's not an excuse for homophobia, though.
It's
Ignorance. I mean, it's not an excuse for homophobia, but it can explain it in a character.
It's true. I'm just kidding. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Zach, what do you think? Where do you think this movie goes?
We'll put it in A class. There's not many superhero movies that are made like this anymore.
Yeah.
I go against the grain. I didn't like the second one that much. It's kind of boring to me.
Really?
I understand why people like it. But, this one though, it's just
Go back and forth.
It's like the shots I don't really see anymore. The Hollywood sound studio feel in a superhero movie we don't get anymore. This is kind of one of the last of its kind, and I really like it.
Even with like the Avengers, you think?
No, because a lot of it's so green screened.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I'm
a
saying? Like
different
you feel the buildings, like you feel the surrounding more.
Yeah, no, like all like practical effects and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get you.
How about you, Kyle? Where would you put this?
We can leave it where it is. I judge Spider-Man in a very different way. I think a lot of people who have been exposed to the Weta digital age and the green screen dominance of the modern Marvel age would look back at this and say how dated it was. I don't think Sam Raimi would make it any different. Sam Raimi comes from a background of practical effects. He comes from a mixture of cheesiness in his presentation.
Campiness.
Yeah, campiness, and campiness is an art form in and of itself, and some people take that for granted, and you can see it all in his Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Darkman. Like he has a great sensibility for camp, and Willem Dafoe's performance, if that doesn't tell you how much they knew how campy it was meant to be, like come on, like it's so part of the Sam Raimi lexicon and tone. It's so pitch perfect in that regard, and I will never disparage it. So A seems right.
Yeah, I think one actually might be better than two. That I'm remembering it. And since Kyle brought up Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell does amazing in his little small roles.
Always.
The only reason why I like one more is because it's more nostalgic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sure.
I get that. All right, Spider-Man into the A class. Before we go on with the rest of these, let's just take a little break. Kyle, people were asking us where they could find your podcast. People are trying to get into your podcast. So you have anything special coming up? Well, what's next for your podcast? What are you doing?
Well, you're releasing probably faster than I do. I to let people know, I have recorded up to this point 50 episodes in the span of 2 months, and they get released 3 a week. You can find it. It's I Know Movies and You Don't with Kyle Bruehl, and you can find that on Instagram if you want to follow the Instagram. It's IKMAYD. Right. Yeah, see, it's always IKMAYD. It's at that, and the same for the Facebook. You can find it on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and yeah, I mean it's 3 a week. Right now we're in season 1, and I just started recording for season 2, which will premiere in October. But it's a lot of groundwork and conversation. It's not like up-to-date information, and I figured you don't necessarily need to do that when you're looking back at old movies. Even though some of the conversations tend to try and relate what these old movies can say to a modern-day audience and what they can mean for us today. And some of that, interaction can change depending on what's volatile or in current news, which comes out in some of the episodes, and we have relevant conversations. But we're looking back, so I'm accumulating a lot of, and I take a lot of time in editing them, so it's pretty streamlined, and I put in little quotes and music. I think for people who've been on the show, like Eric and Zach, I think everybody has a great time when they come on. I think it's a show about a grassroots group of people who love movies and get to talk about them. You don't need to be an expert to talk about movies. You just have to have passion. You have to have love.
Very nice. I like that. And I could definitely say, very fun time. I'm excited to hear all the ones that you and Zach did. You two are very like-minded, very smart individuals, so it's always fun to listen to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey folks, Eric here. This episode was actually so long that we decided to split it in half and upload part 2 next week. Leave a comment below. Let us know if you like what you heard so far, if you're excited to have Kyle back with us, and if you want him to come back. And please do us a favor, leave a like, share the video, word of mouth this thing, and subscribe as always. Thank you for listening. I'm Eric from West Coast Pop. Peace out.